he chugs some sugar-free Red Bull, takes maximum. So I always take maximum strength Excedrin as my migraine control or attempts, and sometimes I'm too late, and there are.
It's already happening. Yeah.
Well, not only that, but there are digestive things that evacuate it.
Got it. That's a really eloquent way of putting that.
Yes. As Adam Seltzer would say, it cascaded out of my system.
Oh, that's okay.
Right?
All right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Isn't that
yeah.
lovely?
I'm going to start using that, actually.
Yes.
I need to go cascade.
I need to cascade violently. So this guy, so he does the things, and I was like, I have to go home and do that right now. So I stopped and grabbed some sugar-free Red Bull, took the Excedrin, and my temples are. And I've recently bought a cold cap you can keep in the freezer. It's like that's neoprene that comes down over your eyes. I had a little bit of carbs, and I laid down, and so I'm feeling better.
Good.
So I didn't get full-fledged. I didn't go into the full-fledged migraine, but I can feel it behind my eyes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's.
Well, you look good. You look like you're not just
experience
what you just elaborated on. So yes, yeah.
Well, I'm also learning that you don't always get migraine, so it's permanent, right? I was still getting them once or twice a year, just wasn't getting them every month. So that's again, that's a little bit of why you had the moment of some silence there.
Well, and with migraines, I've never experienced them, but I've learned basically that if you have never. You don't truly understand them. So that's just the way that people are like, oh, it's just a migraine. You're like, no, apparently it's way more than just a headache. It's a whole lot of things.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Right.
And so again, I'm not having one now. I think I had the harbingers of it. So for me, I'm light sensitive, smell sensitive, sound sensitive.
Okay.
And it's funny because I usually wake up with them.
Right.
But then as I was been going through all this, I'm like, oh, the first one I really remember was my mom took me to Phoenix. My sister was living in Phoenix.
Okay.
And it was so hot. And my whole life I've thought it was because of the heat. But now I realize that was one of my first ones.
That was one of the things. Okay.
Yeah. I can't, when I have a full-fledged, I can't stand up straight. I can't move. I have to be in complete darkness.
Wow.
I often can't make it to the cascade.
Yes.
I have to cascade in the garbage can in the bathroom. In the bedroom.
Cascade receptacle. Yes, correct.
Yes.
Yep.
And that hurt right there. So I should not laugh.
Okay. All right. I'll try not to be funny today.
Yeah, be funny. It's okay.
All right.
Hi, Dan Schaefer.
Hello.
I love your Pride hat.
Thank you. Yes, it's not over. It's never over, even though it's not June anymore.
I was telling my friends from Pride Coffee Roasters, I'm going to get a banner for their tent.
Yeah.
That says queer all year.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
right.
I
mean, because right, Lady B. I'm just saying, queer all year is because they were saying that they get a lot of support in June, and people want to support the work they do, and it's like, hey, folks, if you invested your dollars in products or businesses because they are LGBTQ plus,
right?
Do that all year long.
Yeah, exactly. Support the business, support the people. Yeah, right.
Speaking of which, PrideCoffeeRoasters.com.
Support them. That's great.
Support them. They have a bean subscription. They have the best single origin roasted to order coffee beans. I can't remember. Are you a coffee drinker?
I am. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll have to
especially.
I'll have a bag ready for you.
Okay.
The next market is this Sunday.
I was just going to ask because they're at the market, right? Okay. Yeah.
Oh. Now, are you a fan of farmers markets? I know I've seen.
I love farmers markets. Yeah.
Have you been to the Skokie farmers market?
I have not.
Damn.
What?
I kind of had market envy a little bit.
Really?
Well,
you
only
had an
because
affair with the.
I know.
Wow. Okay.
That was what I was. That's what I felt like I was cheating on Merrill and the Jefferson Park Sunday Market. I've been to Portage, and it's perfectly nice, very similar to ours, right?
Sure.
Chicago Park District.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was about. I don't know if it was because it was the newness of it.
Yeah,
it was,
sure.
Pride Coffee Roasters was there, but I think they're the only ones that were there. Oh, Finn's Ranch was there.
Okay.
By the way, I had Finn's for our 4th of July celebrations this weekend.
Okay.
We had bratburgers and.
I have never had.
Oh, maybe that might not have been Finn's, but I had. We also had the Toulouse sausages from Finn's Market. Are so good.
All
really
right.
Good. Yeah.
Okay.
So
taking note of that.
Yes.
Okay.
I will. If you come to the market this Sunday, or I'll be volunteering, I'll point you. I'll walk you around.
We'll take her. Yeah. I'll be like with the celebrity. I'll be a VIP.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. It's funny you say that because I never feel that way. However, and I want to do a shout out. There was a friend of the show. Well, I guess she's not a friend of the show. Her sister listened to the show. I met a woman named Martina. She says she goes by Tina, and she says her sister listened to the show. And I'm going to beg apologies to her sister. I can't remember what she told me your name was. But Tina remembers me from, I would say it has to be more than a decade of doing, a decade ago.
Okay.
I think it's even like all the way back. It might even be almost 20 years ago. She was wondering what had happened to me, and like was wondering why. She's like, "Where are you doing comedy shows?" So anyway, her sister listens to the show. She might not necessarily be values aligned, but likes my show.
Okay.
So I don't know what she thinks my values are, because my values are also, I mean, they're human aligned.
I was going to say, being a
aligned.
decent human being, you know.
Well,
yeah.
I guess there's a Catholic element to it.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And she may not think that I'm values aligned, but I would say that I'm very aligned with the teachings of Christ.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
You're a
so I
very
hope that helps a little bit.
Christian-esque person.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean,
I did ask.
I would say more along the lines of Mary Magdalene.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's,
just,
hey.
Not that I have sold anything for any particular amount of money, but I'm saying what people would, the names I've been called.
Mary Magdalene had some prime real estate in the Bible. So, I mean, so that's,
yes.
you know.
What people would consider a woman of not being respectable.
Correct, yes.
And I would think that some people would think I'm not respectable. At any rate.
I would disagree.
Well,
so, yes.
I appreciate that. How did you? How was your 4th of July celebration?
It was interesting to say the least. Well, we had a fest. We every year in Elmwood Park
cakes.
they do a yes. That's so you can see where this is going. Yeah. So the time of the day. Well, technically weeks because I spread out the whole planning phase. But so getting everything ready. We only 4 items on the menu because it's only like a 5-hour thing, right? They open at 5, fireworks go at 9. You're done by 10. You know.
Right.
So we only did funnel cakes, hot dogs, pulled pork sandwiches, and lemonade shake-ups, right? So we get everything there. We load up. My goal was to get everything set up before the rain because I hate setting up in the rain. So I want everything all set up in the, whatever. We're under the tent. Then it starts raining, which we expected. We're like, all right, it's going to be an hour, and then it'll clear up, and then we're good to go. We'll fire up the fryers and everything like that. And then it just didn't stop raining. And so,
oh, God.
So we're all just sitting in the booth. And then one of our good friends, Mike, he runs it. And he's basically like, it's your call. If you guys want to go, you can go. He's like, we canceled the band. As of now, fireworks are still a go. And I'm like, there's like 30 people out here. I'm not staying open for,
Yeah.
So we packed everything up and went home.
Oh, Dan, I'm so
then
sorry.
I sat on the deck and just watched what I could have fired. My neighbors were going crazy with fireworks. I mean, it's Chicago,
Same.
so it's a whole thing, and I don't know if you were watching the Cubs game. My mother was over, so of course she was watching.
About those.
It was so hazy. And that was just like by our house too. I could barely see my neighbor's garage, like it was just a lot of fireworks.
It was a lot. Same over here. Yeah. It was interesting because I'm so Northwest side. I'm like, the nerve of these people. And then I see like what's happening in other parts of the city where like street blocks are being taken over. I was over in Portage Park, not far from you on Mobile. My friend Heather had some folks over.
Okay.
And there were people like in the middle of the street. Like they were almost offended that I was coming down the street in my vehicle. Like, like they had to, I'm not kidding you. They had to move their bottle of tequila out of the way.
Oh, of course.
And I was like, pardon me. And they had like pipes set up to set off like all kinds of different sort of artillery apparently. But I was like, okay, whatever. Right. They had moved at least, and I took my time.
Yeah.
Then I got to my neighborhood and I don't want to, I hesitate to talk about this because I don't want people in my community to go, oh, I know where they live.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? But there was certain activity that was taking a place with vehicles on lawns, on sidewalks, driving around, and I was like, I kind of have to call the cops on this. We're not talking about the fireworks. We're talking about vehicles with like families and kids and on their lawns. Yep. Yeah, but because we live near a park, like everyone had their tents out. There were like bouncy houses on lawn. It was essentially a block party.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Was it similar like that kind of like people setting up on their porches? Like,
I mean, when we were
wild.
driving home from Elmwood Park, you could like people were having parties and like there was a ton of people out and stuff like that. But yeah, it had a very like block party type feel. I think that's a good description of it. But people were having fun and I don't mind fireworks, and everyone, people that aren't from Chicago, they're like, well, you should call the cops. And I was like, for fireworks, they're gonna be like, yeah, that's cute. We'll put you down on the list. There was a wild report out of, I don't know if you saw this, about Midway Airport having an issue with because they're so close to the neighborhoods and backyards. I don't know how, have you ever flown into Midway? I hate it. It is not okay. Yeah. I'm like, oh, look, there's Joe's pool. There are people that say that shouldn't be an airport. There are people that say it's not.
Midway. I don't. When you land, you're like, is this how I go? Is this how I go out? Because it's almost like you come straight down, like a bang.
Yeah.
And that terrible accident years ago, almost 20 years ago.
Yes.
Went right through the wall,
Yeah.
and a little boy died. But at any rate, yeah, they were saying that it hit a plane. Like, it's conflicting reports. They said the FAA investigated. One report was that there was damage to the underneath one of the wings, like something had come close, and which is, I would think, at least in that area, I would be more vigilant about managing.
Yeah, right.
I mean, think like that close to an airport, maybe don't set off mortars.
Maybe just don't.
Maybe just don't do that. I don't know. Just a wild guess. Okay, I have to look at this tweet, this text. Patti, Pat, I'm not sure if it's true, but there's some Laura Loomer has tweeted out that Mitch McConnell is brain dead.
I saw something about him. I didn't get specifics.
A high-level source to the White House tells me Mitch McConnell is officially, well, it's been over 3 weeks since they have seen him. And apparently his wife, after he was discovered non-responsive, not long afterwards, she left for China.
Yeah, I did see that. Somebody posted something about her travel details.
Is she concerned about her personal safety without the cover of her husband? I'm just curious about that as well.
Yeah. So this is probably on the Daily Beast. This is what is showing up. And it says that Laura Loomer, a confidant, is essentially saying, or Mitch McConnell is essentially brain dead. His aides have refused to provide details about his condition, and others are insisting he's recovering in the hospital. So
I mean,
he's been dealing with health issues for quite a while. And I'm just speculating, I guess, that they don't want the governor to be able to appoint somebody to his seat. And so and Mitch McConnell is no stranger to holding on to seats and things like that. I mean, so this is not really,
Hello, Merrick Garland.
Yeah.
I would have been more comfortable with him. Although, who knows? Maybe Merrick Garland would have been a namby-pamby on the Supreme Court.
That's a good point.
Too.
I was not happy with him as Attorney General.
I was not happy with him as a selection that Barack Obama had, because the narrative was that President Obama picked him because the Republicans had assured him that he would be palatable to them,
right.
And then did a double cross. That's my understanding of how that went down. That went down. So yes, I would assume that there are some shenanigans going on.
But it's kind of like, but it's also, I forget the name of the representative that disappeared. He checked himself in for mental health issues. You just disappear from your job, and
after voting to not allow funding
leave,
for people, for medical leave for families.
And so, how do you just not show up for your job? And also, I mean, so in theory, the state of Kentucky is not having they're not represented in the government, right? Same thing with I forget where that representative was from, but that he was not representing his district when he was gone, because you can't vote, right? And I think they can't even vote remotely, right? They tried to do that during COVID and it never, So you're technically not representing your constituents. And whether or not he's alive or brain dead, I don't know what's happening with Mitch McConnell.
New Jersey Republican Representative Tom Keene Jr. Returned to Congress after an absence of nearly 4 months, missing 140 roll call votes, and was absent from D.C. and his district since March 5th.
Yeah. So that's your job. That's what you're making, $170,000 a year plus, allowances and stuff. And
he still won the Republican primary and runs unopposed. I think he was unopposed in that primary.
Oh, okay.
So maybe Rebecca Bennett, who is the Democrat running against him,
could just promise that she'll show up to work.
Yeah. I mean, because he had voted against the Mental Health Parity Enforcement Act that penalizes employer health plans that do not provide equal coverage for mental health services.
Sure. I mean, it's kind of like these Republicans that are running, victory laps because there's infrastructure being built in their districts, even though they voted against the infrastructure bill.
Correct.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
Well, here's a problem with my eyeballs hurting me. I have forgotten to take a look at the clock to see what time it is, and we have gone past the time.
Sorry, I should have been there.
That's not your fault. And I'm glad that I did not ask you to come in because I was having migraine issues. But I'm glad that you're here. Thank you. That's the Dan Schaefer guest co-hosting with me today. We're going to take a break here. We are thankful to our sponsors, Source Solar. Go to source.solar. Make an appointment with Peter Sorellis. Maybe it's time to get solar panels on your house or business. Thank you to Minocqua Brewing Company back this month. We are so excited to be partnering again. Oh my goodness. We are broadcasting. I totally forgot we're broadcasting on Minocqua Brewing Company. Well, that's going to... Hi, everybody. Welcome to my migraine. I'm not having a full-blown migraine, but hi, everybody. I'm Minocqua Brewing Company. Thank you for joining us. Let's take a break here, and I'll reset and maybe have my poop pulled together when we come back. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150, and now Minocqua Brewing Company, as well as Facebook and YouTube.
The Ben Joravsky Show.
Nancy Graham, this is an excerpt from his special grand jury interview. Listen, he thinks he's cheated out of the election. If you told him, meaning Trump, Martians came and stole votes, he'd be inclined to believe it. One more time. This is Lindsey Graham, under oath. If you told Trump Martians came and stole votes, he'd be inclined to believe it. Donald Trump's assertions that the election was stolen from him are about as well-founded as if he said Martians stole it from him. He made it up.
The Ben Joravsky Show. Saturdays at 5 p.m. on WCPT.
From the people who brought you It's the Dog Park comes.
It's a hot spot on your dog's leg that the internet says you can treat it at home. You're not sure, though, because now it's oozing.
Protect your dog from injury and illness with Progressive Pet Insurance.
Ooh, he's licking it. Super gross, dude.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Coverage subject to policy terms.
If you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Corey called to consolidate his debt and was so happy with my advice, he left me this 5-star Google review. Quote, I was looking to pay off debt, so I reached out to David after listening to his radio show. David called me personally and walked me through my options. He shot it straight. There was no beating around the bush or pushing me to sign anything. If any of my family or friends need anything related to a mortgage, I'll give them David's number because you can't get better or more honest service. Thanks, Corey. I strongly encourage everyone to check out our close to 600 5-star Google reviews from listeners like Corey. Team Hochberg helped Corey and thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Atlantic Coast Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 643114.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Here's great news for those Chicagoans heading up to southern Wisconsin. Should you ever forget to load up on progressive brews from the local favorites like Rogers Park Provisions or Park West Liquor in Lincoln Park, Minocqua Brewing Company beer is now conveniently available at Dream Liquor and Cigar in Kenosha and in the Lake Geneva area at Delavan Liquor and Smoke in Delavan. If the great town of Madison, Wisconsin is your jam, please remember to swing into the Minocqua Brewing Company tap room at 2927 East Washington Avenue to grab some Resistance beer, pizza, t-shirts, and progressive camaraderie.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our drive home as I work out some of the kinks of operating while migraining. I guess I'm not actually in a full-blown migraine. I would not be functioning, and Dan Schaefer and Paul Shivari would be more than handily handling the show.
We got your back.
But I got ahead of it today, but it's having a little bit of an after effect as I try to catch up mentally. So hello to our friends who are tuning in on Minocqua Brewing Company's Substack. If you are not following us on Substack, you should be, because you can join a wonderful community of folks, as well as following our marketplace. And I wrote an essay today on Substack called "Enemy from Within."
Ooh.
The Enemy Within. And I did you watch any of the World Cup yesterday?
I heard.
I was very sad.
Okay.
I was very excited about Mexico playing. I was as excited about Mexico. Well, I was even more excited with the international love for Mexico because, one, the Scottish. Did you follow any of the Scottish escapades in Boston? Like just the Tartan Army descending upon one of our great cities with bagpipes and construction cones. So one of the things in Glasgow, traditionally they have a Duke of Wellington statue outside one of their museums. We were there last September.
Yeah.
And we were like, what's with the orange cone? And apparently it's kind of like taking someone down a peg, a duke,
Okay,
you're
yeah.
not so hoity-toity. And they put an orange cone. And so apparently it's tradition to put orange cones on statues. And they were doing that all over Boston.
Okay.
And then when they went to Miami, there were some glitches because the Miami police were not quite as keen on them putting orange cones there. But then apparently the city warmed up to them. And it was wonderful. And then the Scots lost. And then they became full-throated Mexican fans. And so did Ireland because they were playing England. So it was a big, against the colonizers. And then countries all over the world. I mean, it was just really fun to watch people making these very fun videos. And a lot of the teams that had lost, they're taking off their jersey and there's a Mexican jersey underneath.
That.
Really fun.
It's good sportsmanship.
Yeah.
It was just fun.
It was. And so I wanted them to win as much for, Mexico winning and some of my mom's side of the, my family tree and my heritage. As much for the joy, the Korean fans had bonded with the Mexican fans in Mexico. And, so it was really delightful, all that energy. So I was a little bit sad. So we were watching that game and we had my son, my mom over, my son's girlfriend. And we had decided we were going to watch a movie, and we decided to watch Good Night and Good Luck.
Okay.
Which is the Edward R. Murrow movie by George Clooney.
Okay.
About, so Edward R. Murrow, who worked for CBS, he was a commentator and a newsman, journalist for CBS News. And he essentially, the movie is centered around the back and forth and the battle with him and Joe McCarthy.
Okay.
And the Red Scare and the all this, the amount of harm that Joe McCarthy did during this time period with lies, without due process. The main story that this kind of sort of jumps from is a man whose father had been associated with the Communist Party. I might be getting this wrong because we didn't finish the movie because we were going back and forth with the World Cup.
Sure.
So I've gotten only a little bit of the movie in, but without due process, essentially, they threw this guy out of the military because his father was associated with communism.
Okay.
And so it was this battle between Joe McCarthy and Edward R. Murrow. And I haven't found out what I don't even I should know more about this. I'm seeing your face I'm not sure, I'm not familiar. You don't have to
looking
be
it up right. Yeah.
But what was interesting was watching this, it wasn't intentional, but it's also what is now the playbook of the right, which is to conjure up these, monster scenarios, these, othering and, talking about Democrats as communists. And there was a moment in the movie where Edward R. Murrow says, that Joe McCarthy had previously remarked that we don't want to destroy the other party. We should have two parties in this country because otherwise a single party system will lead to our ruin.
Right.
And yet that's, McCarthy tried to do it because he tried to label, all Democrats or liberals as communists. And that's what Trump did over the weekend, which again, this whole commie scare. And yet he was in China just 6 weeks ago, cozying up with a communist leader. He loves Putin. He goes to North Korea and thinks that, he loves because necessarily the communism part, but certainly the dictator part.
Sure, yeah.
And I have emphasis on the first syllable of that is all I'm saying.
Oh, there you go. Well played.
What? So, but at any rate, now we see what the playbook is going to be, that this is going to be their strategy for the rest of the year.
First term for him, it was brown people coming over the border, right? That was that now communism is in the, and Tom Hartman was talking about this earlier, how I think Europeans got it right when they called it social democracy. That's what that's essentially democratic socialism here. But the social democracy has a not so scary term to, the Republicans who are like, oh, you're saying socialist. It's like, yes, that's the term that we're using. However, in practice, things like, I don't know, access to health care and a social safety net and corporations that don't control the government actually holds corporations accountable. That's kind of what we're trying to get toward here.
Right.
But it's just the word choice. And then now, of course, it's just communists. Communists are everywhere, apparently, according to Donald Trump. That's going to be what we're hearing for the next 2 years. It's exactly going to be what we're hearing.
Well, and certainly heading into the midterms, this will be the big, well, especially with the DSA, with candidates who have won as Democratic Socialists. It'll be, because as Trump said himself, as Drowsy Donnie said, Dementia Donnie said that the poorly educated love him.
Yep.
So those who are easily manipulated by the language of calling someone a commie is going to be very successful.
Well, and when I always say he's an idiot, but he's a very smart con man. And when you repeat the same thing over and over and over again, especially with his base, that's what people start. That's what fires them up, and that's what they believe is truth. I mean, did you see this great state fair, or whatever Great American State Fair, when they had inclement weather and people were running all over the place, and they were saying that it was the Democrats that were telling people that the weather was bad, and when I was like, have you looked at the sky? die. Okay,
Yeah.
like what the heck? You're not listening to anybody.
It's right in front of them.
Yeah. Oh, it's Antifa. I was like, no, actually, it's God that's like raining on you, and you should probably seek shelter. I don't know what you guys are talking. Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just
Yeah. So I saw someone say that their last two brain cells are struggling for third place. Let's take a break here. We'll continue our conversation. My guest co-host today is Dan Schaefer. Thank you for joining us wherever you're tuning in. KKNW 1150 in Seattle, KTNF. Well, they're coming up in a little bit on Minneapolis, St. Paul, AM 950. And, of course, we're here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. Hello to everyone tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, and now joining us on Substack, Minocqua Brewing Company. More in a moment. We'll continue our conversation. We can open up the phone lines, 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-9278. More in a moment.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Clear skies tonight with a low temperature of 66 degrees and breezy north winds. Tuesday, sunshine with a high temperature of 79 and northeast winds at 5 to 10. Wednesday, sunny with a high temperature of 88 degrees. Thursday, we'll see a chance of showers and thunderstorms with a high temperature around 87. Friday, scattered showers and thunderstorms with a high temperature around 81 degrees. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 79.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Dive deeper into the heart of the news and stories at WCPT 820 and across the Midwest by checking out our website, heartlandsignal.com.
It's the coverage I can count on every time.
For the latest news updates, in-depth analysis, compelling stories, comprehensive election coverage, live streams, and thought-provoking opinions, head to heartlandsignal.com.
When I need to know, they're there.
They keep me informed and updated wherever I am.
Stay informed with WCPT 820, your go-to source for where facts matter. WCPT replay.
Do we have another caller? Hello?
Hello there. It's Steve from the Gold Coast, Warren.
Steve Giovano. What do you know, kiddo?
Hey.
How are you?
There you go. Good. Warren, great guy, knows his business. I mean, from the business side of it to the mechanics. Like I said, known the guy for 20 years. I mean, we met. We were both seeing the same woman. I happen to be married to her, but hey, you can't.
What is happening? What
No. It was all clean.
Just got spilled. Hold on. I gotta get
you can't put a price on a guy who, like Warren. I mean, she can go, but I mean,
You're hilarious, Steve.
No, I'm joking.
It's a joke.
Can we mark that as a clip for Warren's show from here on out?
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining me as we continue our drive home. I'm your host, Patti Vasquez, broadcasting on WCPT 820, Heartland Signal, and KKNW 1150. And hello to our friends who are tuning in digitally. Perhaps you're on Facebook or YouTube. And now our friends joining us on Substack, on Minocqua Brewing Company's Substack page. Please consider following us on Substack, everybody, where you can follow all of the writers we have coming up tomorrow. Ben Cominos, formerly the host of Outside the Box, and now hosting his show daily on the Minocqua Brewing Company Substack as well. And I just did it office hours. I'm going to have you on one of these days for my office hours, just talk about topics.
Sure.
But I do a half hour every Monday at 1 o'clock and just kind of take out, mostly, like today, I was trying to introduce myself. Okay. Hi, everybody who maybe try to tune into my Substack on Minocqua Brewing Company today. I maybe didn't have my microphone on.
Oh, no.
I know. So for 15 minutes, just talking. And like, and it was funny, like once I realized nobody could hear me, I'm like, I really should have recorded that. So, because I was telling stories about how I got to be a broadcaster,
right,
and sort of where my parents came from, and it did not work. So I have to do. If you want to tune in, I'll tell the story again next week. And we were, I wanted to talk about my column today, which was, based a little bit on, a lot on Edward R. Murrow, who, and the other part was he was at CBS, which is now completely sold out to not just to Trump, but I mean they settled with him when he threatened this huge lawsuit, and then because they wanted to have the sale, and now they have somebody who's in charge of their newsroom, completely killing stories that who are the watchdogs, and my thing is that it's us. It's the independent journalists. It's the commentators. It's the people with their phone refusing to stop asking questions. And there are reporters in the room who have names on lists when they, when they talked about Elon Musk, they were like, how about all the children that are dying because of all these cuts you made to USAID? And he's like, no one's died. And they have like names of kids who were dying from malaria. I mean, there's tens of thousands, and they think it would be up to 4 million people by 2030 that will lose their lives because of cuts. I might be wrong on the numbers, folks. I don't have that all in front of me. But it is, it's going to be the independent journalists, the people who refuse to back down, because you don't have the big networks behind you anymore.
Right.
Because the big networks are owned by the people who want to extract something from this administration. And can you imagine, like, being tricked by the words communist while you're being robbed by the biggest grift in the history of our country?
Yeah. Well, it's. I always say that we do have socialism in this country. It's corporate socialism. It's privatized the profits, socialize the losses, right? And I was just talking to Jim, my husband, about this with these Trump accounts that went live today, right? It's essentially putting money that is supposed to be for children into the stock market, right? So now there's even more of they have even more skin in the game financially, right? And so what's going to happen when there is some type of a great recession and these corporations, as they all do, come running to the government for bailouts? And it's like, well, you have to bail us out because we have all of these individuals that are relying on the viability of our companies, even though we ran them and got ourselves into this position. Looking at you, the banks back in the day, and then the car companies and all. Who do they run to when they need money?
Yeah.
They all go to the government. But then when the government wants to give money like USAID, like, no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
No, oh my goodness. No, we want vision and dental for seniors on Medicare. No, we can't do that. That's too expensive.
Why aren't human beings too big to fail?
Exactly, right? That's a good point, and I think it's going to be something like $14 billion that's going to be funding these Trump accounts, and that's all just coming from the Treasury, just from general revenue. Like, apparently some billionaires are going to be donating, quote unquote, or giving funds to this stuff. Like, there are some corporations that are giving specific to states where they actually have offices and stuff in those particular states, so they're going to give money to help with this $1,000 guarantee or match or whatever. But we can just give money to this. We can give money to to GM and Ford and Chrysler when they were in dire, but they paid back. Obama made sure they paid them back. But like back during when Bush was president and stuff, like he had to make some difficult decisions about who was too big to fail and who was like, I'm sorry, we're not giving you any money. But the fact of the matter is, the government is the first place that people run to, corporations run to when they run into, but then when it happens to the individual person, it's like, oh, well, look at your expenses, look at your budget. Like, what do you, like, I'm sorry, these CEOs of corporations are still getting their bonuses and their, and all that stuff. But no, we need money. We need our dollars to bail you out. And where is that?
I think another question that I always appreciate hearing is why is it that we demand a minimum wage but not a maximum salary for these outrageously wealthy, these golden parachutes and people who are making? I mean, the idea that does a firefighter, does a construction worker, does a nurse, does a police officer, does a teacher let's think of all the wide variety of occupations people have that are in MAGA. Do they really, really think that some of these folks work a billion times harder than them or a trillion times harder than them? Do they really think that the folks who are getting up at 4 a.m. to go work at an Amazon warehouse, do they really think that Bezos works hundreds of billions of dollars times harder than they do?
Mm-hmm.
I just am curious.
No, and it's interesting. Yeah. I was just thinking about this today, right? Like JP Morgan, right? Like, do you think that for a second, their CEO of Diamond, right? Do you think that?
Hold on a second. I totally forgot about something. Sorry, my migraine brain. Hold on, everybody. Hold on, everyone. I forgot about Dan. Sorry, Dan Schaefer. I've been battling a migraine, Dan Schaefer. I apologize. How are you doing today? Were you calling in?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I was starting the show talking about how I have migraine and I did not look at my rundown. We're in studio. My apologies. You know what's funny? I saw Dan Schaefer mentions about to join Patti Vasquez. I'm like, oh, thanks, Dan Schaefer. But there's Dan Schaefer in studio, so you might understand a little bit of my confusion. Dan Schaefer, the editor, he's like, am I being cut off from all of the associations that I Dan Schaefer, the editor, the writer, the award-winning publisher of the Recombobulation Area, joins us on the line. Again, my deepest apologies for making you wait. How are you doing today? We're on the line with Dan Schaefer from the Politini as well.
I get how it can be a little discombobulating having multiple Dan Schaefers here to talk to you on the show.
Yes,
but always glad to be here. Doing well.
I am so sorry. I'm really, really embarrassed. I was also late for my show. This is not a good day. Can we edit all these mistakes out of the show, like live while we're in the real time? Okay, let's reset. Dan Schaefer, what is going on in Wisconsin? You know who we haven't talked about in a long time is Ron Johnson. Is he still around, or is he hanging out with Mitch McConnell? That was a terrible thing to say. I apologize. But how's Ron Johnson?
He's been quiet. He doesn't really, he's not a particularly active senator. Mm-hmm. So we haven't heard from him because there's really not a whole lot going on. But with the Wisconsin political universe is very busy, as it always is.
Sure.
There's so much going on, and we are just over a month away from the Democratic primary in the race for governor. So we have now 6 candidates who are running in that field. We are getting down to crunch time here. Early voting is coming up in just a few weeks. Ballots are already being sent. Absentee ballots are already being sent. So we are getting down to crunch time here. The first open race for governor since Scott Walker won in 2010. A chance for the first Democratic trifecta in more than 15 years. It's a huge, huge race. And we're getting down to it here. Francesca Hong, state representative from Madison, Mandela Barnes, former lieutenant governor, and Sarah Rodriguez, the current lieutenant governor, are the top 3 candidates running right now. And it's getting pretty interesting. It's starting to get a little spicy.
Yeah, no kidding. And I saw because you are very good about staying on top of the polling numbers. I know that that and whether or not that reveals exactly, polling can do. We saw with the Harris Walls that it was possible that Iowa was in play, and that didn't shake out. So you never know. But did I see? I mean, what are the most reliable? I know you talk about Marquette. Has Marquette been? Have those numbers been solid as far as this race? In who's ahead?
There has not been a whole lot of public polling in this race throughout. Marquette has not polled since before our April 7th spring election, and most of that poll's focus was on the state Supreme Court race that was on the ballot statewide in that spring election. There have been a couple polls here and there that were of interest. There was one that came out yesterday. There was one that I reported on a couple weeks ago. I got my hands on an internal poll from the Sarah Rodriguez campaign that showed Francesca Hong and Mandela Barnes and Sarah Rodriguez kind of forming a top 3. And then beyond that, there's also Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley, State Senator Kelda Roys, and former top cabinet official under Tony Evers, Joel Brennan. Those three have pulled below the top three. So
Gotcha.
it's going to be interesting to see if there is any movement, from those, I guess, bottom three, if you could call them that right now, if there's going to be anybody dropping out, if there's going to be any further consolidation, or if any of them might still have the opportunity to make a jump. I think there's still a whole lot of undecided voters in this race. I really don't think that many people outside of those who are really, really tuned into it are paying all that much attention just yet. And I do feel like it's getting kind of late for some of these candidates to really make a push. So we'll see if this, if it will be all 6 candidates who will be campaigning all the way through. But we're going to have financial disclosures next week. We're going to have probably a poll within the next couple of weeks from Marquette. We're going to have a debate on July 28th that WISN is hosting here in Milwaukee. So there's going to be a lot of activity in this race over the next few weeks here, and I'm really interested to see, how that all breaks, because the candidate that most people are talking about right now is Democratic State Representative Francesca Hong, who is a Democratic socialist, and she has gotten a whole lot of momentum in this race. She's got a ton of social media buzz. She has got some really interesting national media attention to this race, really over the past couple of weeks here. The Democratic Socialist DSA groups have had some momentum in, very, very blue areas. But now I think many people see this race as a test of, okay, can this actually work in a swing state? And there's no swingier state than Wisconsin, as you well know.
I feel like I'm guessing that you're not taking a swing at who you. Again, anything could change in the last month. But do you have, if push came to shove, who would you call? Who do you think has got the best shot?
I think it's still a race between those top three right now. I'm not struggling to see a path for some of those bottom three, barring some major change in the race right now. And I think the two candidates that I think have the most momentum are Francesca Hong, as I mentioned, and Sarah Rodriguez. Okay. And I think Mandela Barnes, he came into this race with the most name recognition. He ran for U.S. Senate against our least favorite senator, Ron Johnson, a few years ago. The fact that he lost that race is giving some people pause. The fact that, he has run a very safe, very risk-averse type of campaign doesn't seem to be kind of where voters are in this moment, especially people who are going to be Democratic primary voters. But he's still by far the most well-known of this group. And then I think Sarah Rodriguez is running probably the most successful traditional campaign, getting endorsements from state legislators, winning, county party straw polls. There was the state party convention a few weeks ago that she won the straw poll at. And so I think Hong and Rodriguez are the two candidates I'm watching right now to see if that momentum continues. And then I'm watching Mandela Barnes to see, is anything going to change in the race, or is he going to continue running this race as if it is a general election campaign and not a primary where he's going to have to earn it?
Yeah, I think because of the way, the pages that I visit and things like that, I'm only seeing, material from Representative Hong and Lieutenant Governor Rodriguez. So, but that's, again, I'm not in Wisconsin. I'm not being bombarded by commercials. And again, not necessarily following anybody else, but I was curious to hear how that's going. I want to take a break here, and I know they made you wait. Do you mind hanging on for another segment? Sorry.
I can stick around, sure.
I appreciate that. My deepest apologies. I'll keep apologizing off the air. Thank you so much. We're talking to Dan Schaefer, 1 and 2. I'm not sure which A and B. Dan Schaefer, the editor, publisher, award-winning writer and publisher, and editor of The Recombobulation Area. Follow his Substack as well. It's The Recombobulation Area on Substack. Consider being a paid subscriber so you can support the work of independent journalists, which we were talking about earlier in the show. And I actually want to ask Dan about that conversation we had earlier, even though he didn't hear it. So I have to cover it again. Ow, I shouldn't have done that. Dan Schaefer in studio with me, the host of Politini. You can find that anywhere you tune into your podcast, as well as Tuesdays with Josie, which is also available wherever you download your podcast. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150, KTNF AM 950 in a little bit. We also have our friends tuning in on Facebook and YouTube, and now Minocqua Brewing Company Substack. More after this on WCPT 820.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversation with Dan Schaefer. Apparently, there was no commercial there. That was just another moment of reflection for everybody. This is Patti Vasquez on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. And I need to stop making myself laugh, even though that's probably not appropriate anyway, but it makes my head hurt. In studio, we have Dan Schaefer, the host of Apollitini and Tuesdays with Josie. On the line with us, we have the award-winning editor, writer, and publisher of the Recombobulation area. Please consider being a paid subscriber on Substack, and some of you are already there on Substack watching the show. And Dan, I wrote a piece today. I wrote a column because yesterday, for the first time, I don't know why I missed this movie when it came out. Good Night and Good Luck. And it struck me one, since we were talking to you, Joe McCarthy in the events of this weekend. It was a weird lining up. My husband chose the movie for yesterday, and I thought it was an interesting choice. But what were your thoughts this weekend when you heard the Dementia Donnie, and my words, not yours, talking about communists and that we're the Democrats are all communists and we're coming to ruin this country? It's that Red Scare, and they're really manipulating that again, aren't they?
They certainly are, and it is. But it seems like one of those things where just conservatives are always fear-mongering about this. It's always just like, oh, socialists, communists, whatever it is. And it's just like they'll call that to Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. No matter who the left-leaning, left-of-center candidate might be, they're going to be calling them socialists. And I guess now that socialists are having a little bit of a moment here, having some electoral success here and there, maybe they need to move that, right back to communism when they're with what they're going after. So, it's just like it's just the boy who cried wolf on all of it. And it's just like, at a certain point, don't you just kind of stop taking it seriously when conservatives are saying everything is socialism, everything is communism, and it's just like. They would call, I think Pete Buttigieg had a riff on this a couple of years ago. It's just like, no matter what it is, they're going to call it socialism. They're going to call it communism. And so I just think you got to just, let that roll off your back, and because it doesn't mean anything. Right. It's not a meaningful criticism in any way.
Well, and the fact that many on the right don't even understand what the word communism means. They certainly don't know the distinction between socialism, democratic socialism. I mean, all those elements to it. I think for me, the bigger part, and this is where you come into play, is the legacy of Edward R. Murrow, and in particular, the fact that he was with CBS. And now we see how, when you have these people in power who, want to manipulate the administration, want to curry favors, having a settlement and then killing stories. In particular, the story out of El Salvador that 60 Minutes was supposed to run. I do think that journalists like you are more important than ever before. And so what are your thoughts when you as an independent publisher and writer, that's a lot. You're doing a lot of not heavy lifting, but it is in this moment of freedom of speech.
Yeah. I mean, it's I do a lot of commentary and a lot of analysis, podcasting, kind of pundit world type stuff now. But, I have been a journalist in and around Milwaukee for 15 plus years now. And I think people just have to recognize it's really hard work. It's really difficult to do some of the investigative type reporting that we're seeing out there. And I think it is increasingly important to support independent media because, some of these corporate conglomerates, some of these other groups might not really have actual journalism as the priority for what they're doing. And so what I've been doing at the Recombobulation area since I launched this in 2019 has been working to do things independently outside of the traditional media structure and trying to offer both a perspective and a voice, but also original reporting and in-depth work. And we've been able to demonstrate that over the years with now 21 Milwaukee Press Club Awards and a number of other accolades that we've had over the years. years, and work that has really moved conversations in different directions too, and changed public policy, like with some of the projects we've seen here in Milwaukee.
And you were very young in your career when Trump took office, because if you have been doing this for 15 years and he took office in 2016, it's, the folks that I knew, like, I'll give you an example, like Amy Guth, who was a fellow broadcaster at WGN with me. She talked about, like, being her, because I'm a commentator and also I had an overnight show, nobody knew who I was. People were being attacked. I mean, I remember there being, like, specifically, I know it's still aggressive, but it was, that you're all liars, that you are manipulators, that, all this sort of, like, the liberal media and all this stuff. Like, there was a call for violence against journalists. And so that how was that, like, early in your career? How did that land for you, I guess is the best way for me to ask that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was when the year that Trump was elected in 2016, I was a business news reporter. So that was what I did most of the time. So I wasn't reporting on political news quite as much. Obviously there are times when politics and economic development or whatever might overlap, but I was coming from a different place at that time, and I think that wasn't really the Milwaukee Business Journal wasn't a place that was getting those kinds of threats and anything like that necessarily. But I think it also just went to show that the kind of renewed importance of independent media. And I think that was, part of the reason that I decided to launch something on my own independently instead of start to work for a different group or whatever it might be, is because I wanted to do things with a perspective, with a voice. And I felt like that wasn't really being served in my community in southeastern Wisconsin in a lot of ways. And so, this is a market here in Milwaukee area that's very dominated by conservative talk radio. It's a purple state, but there's a lot of very right-leaning media, even in a very blue city like Milwaukee. So I think, just the ability to approach things differently and not come from, like, the conventional perspectives, because I think we're not necessarily being served by those conventional perspectives. So I think it's time for a lot of us to do new things. And I think, the evolution of online media has opened certain channels for that. I publish on Substack. I am very much online, too online perhaps, on Twitter or Blue Sky and Threads and Substack and all the different places that we publish now. Yeah. It's harder and harder to get your message out with fragmented media like this. But I do think it's just so important for independent media to have a place to thrive.
And you do it extraordinarily well, and it's always an honor to have you on. And I hope that we can continue having these conversations. Completely up to you. But I do. By the way, I do love the American flag as your backdrop. I just bought one at a thrift store. It's really kind of a cool, vintagey one. But I do think that we're always accused of being anti-American, and yet I think that the independent journalists like you actually reflect the truest and most important parts of our Declaration of Independence and our Constitution. So thank you so much for the work that you do.
Thanks, Patti. I always appreciate you having me on. I always appreciate your perspective on things. And I've got that flag behind me for a reason. And there's a lot that we need to address with this country, but I still love this country. And I think of that Mark Twain quote. I've thought about it a lot over the last few days as we celebrate the 250th. Is patriotism is loving your country all the time and your government when it deserves it.
Yes.
And
there you go.
I love my country all of the time. I love this country. My roots run deep here, but right now our government certainly does not deserve it.
Correct. Agreed completely. And we have the right, if not the obligation, to say what we think and what we believe. So I appreciate that. Dan Schaefer, the Recombobulation Area. He's the award-winning editor, publisher, and writer for the Recombobulation Area and of the Recombobulation Area. Please consider being a paid subscriber and continue to support independent journalism when we need it the most. Dan, have a great evening, and I'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
Thanks, Patti. Be well.
Too. Take care. Let's take a break here. We'll continue our conversation on WCPT, KKNW, and our friends tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, and Substack after this.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need.
Yeah,
delivered when and where you need them. Call and click Grainger.com or just stop by.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Russia carried out another massive missile and drone attack on Ukraine today. At least 22 people killed in and around the capital. Samya Kulab reports from Kyiv. The assault highlights gaps in Ukraine's air defenses, particularly the need for more U.S.-made Patriot systems.
The Air Force says that while many of the cruise missiles and drones were intercepted, all 29 ballistics reached their target. They're saying that Russia is taking advantage of a Ukrainian vulnerability, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is pressing on the United States and European allies to replenish stocks, saying that every moment of delay will only encourage Russia further to strike civilian centers.
The attack came ahead of this week's NATO summit. Sung-Min Kim reports from the White House. President Trump leaves tonight.
President Trump's had a rocky and very contentious relationship, not just with the broader alliance, but also with individual countries in the NATO alliance. Now, every country in NATO pledges to spend a certain level of their GDP on defense spending. And President Trump has been angry for years that a lot of NATO countries don't actually fulfill that defense spending pledge. He says the United States picks up too much of the tab.
I just want loyalty. You know, we're so loyal to them.
So we're going to be watching how he behaves at NATO this week, how he interacts with other NATO leaders, and his attitude towards them, particularly as the alliance deals with very thorny issues such as the war in Ukraine.
Hamas says it's dissolved its government in Gaza and is preparing to transfer power to a UN-backed technical committee. While Charles Deladesma reports in Tehran.
Mourners dressed in black flooded into Iran's capital, part of the funeral of the late Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, with throngs of people calling for the death of President Donald Trump.
As for oil prices, Brent crude settled just below $72 per barrel, close to where it was before the U.S. and Israel attacked Iran in February. This is AP News. At the World Cup, Spain's on to the quarterfinals, beating Portugal 1-0, and the U.S. is set to go with striker Folarin Balogun.
He will play tonight against Belgium in Seattle. Norway coach Ståle Solbakken calls it
bad decision.
The Norway coach blames FIFA.
It will be over United States now, because if they beat Belgium, it will always have that extra thing about it. Yes, maybe he scores a goal, maybe play a good game, and the Belgium will be furious.
President Trump says he called FIFA's president asking for a review.
That wasn't a foul. That wasn't even an infraction. That was two guys running full speed that happened to crash into each other. You can't take your foot and properly place it on somebody else's foot.
The president said he did not ask for the red card to be reversed. FIFA says they acted with independence. I'm Ed Donahue.
The latest at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Clear skies tonight with a low temperature of 66 degrees and breezy north winds. Tuesday, sunshine with a high temperature of 79 and northeast winds at 5 to 10. Wednesday, sunny with a high temperature of 88 degrees. Thursday, we'll see a chance of showers and thunderstorms with a high temperature around 87. Friday, scattered showers and thunderstorms with a high temperature around 81 degrees. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 79.
Today alone, 5,370 people in the United States will be diagnosed with cancer. That's why Stand Up to Cancer funds and develops the newest and most promising cancer treatments. Stand Up to Cancer wants to provide you with every opportunity to join in this mission. By donating your home, land, or commercial property, you can help Stand Up to Cancer fund innovative cancer research. Stand Up to Cancer makes the process easy, and it may be tax deductible. Visit standuptocancer.org/giveproperty to learn more.
Tell me how you're doing, really. Tell me that you missed the bus this morning, your rent's past due, and your stress level has skyrocketed. I'm here for you. To listen, not judge. To connect you to local mental health resources. No matter what you're going through, specialists like me from NAMI Chicago Helpline are here for you. Call or text Helpline to 833-626-4244. That's 833-626-4244.
You're listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflict
politicians getting caught grabbing ass. Says she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our drive home on WCPT 820, Heartland Signal, and KKNW 1150, and KTNF AM 950, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Thank you to all of our friends who are joining us through our live streams on Facebook, YouTube, and now Minocqua Brewing Company's Substack. Hi, everybody. Joining me in studio is my guest co-host, Dan Schaefer, the co-host of The Politini and host of Tuesdays with Josie, available wherever you listen to your podcasts. He's also a fill-in host here at WCPT, and thrilled to have you in studio. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Chicago Dan.
It's Chicago Dan. I know we just had Wisconsin Dan on, and I'm a little bit loosey goosey. I'm gonna tell everybody right now. Full disclosure, I did not realize, and it's the kind of thing. If I had a full blown migraine, I probably would have had to have you fill in, because it didn't start to hit me until a few hours ago, and then I tried to get ahead of it. I'm feeling okay, so but it does cause some ripple effects of not being able to focus very well. So thank you to everybody who's being patient with me today. For I didn't even know it was called migraine brain, and it's just it's not fun. It's a little challenging.
Makes sense now, though. But
it's migraine. I have migraine brain. First of all, I want to thank all of our sponsors, including Minocqua Brewing Company. Go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. There are some great new beers available, including Fascist Tears. You're going to love that can. And if you subscribe to the Minocqua Brewing Company Substack, you'll be able to read some of the great columns that are available. I'm not saying that mine's great. I'm proud of the work I do. If you think it's great, I appreciate your compliments. Tomorrow's will be Ben Cominos, and we will be featuring Fascist Tears as the beer that goes along with that. When you purchase beers or the products, like today, mine for the next few days is the Woke Coffee. When you buy Woke Coffee, you support the work that I do tonight and tomorrow and through Thursday. When you purchase Fascist Tears, you support the work that Ben Cominos does. We kind of get attached to a product. I kind of like being woke.
It's good, yeah.
Kind of one of my favorite things is to be woke. It means I have empathy for humans.
That's right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
It's a novel idea.
What?
Yeah.
And If you are tuning in to any of our platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and Minocqua Brewing Company's Substack, you can see there's a banner behind me. We won't go quietly back to the 1950s. Pro-woman, pro-child, pro-choice. This is a product available on the Minocqua Brewing Company marketplace, made by Liberal Lawn. I also have the Smokey the Bear. I have a lawn sign that's got Smokey the Bear. Only you can stop the destruction of our national forests. And it says resist on the hat and stuff. So I love Liberal Lawn. So visit Minocqua Brewing Company marketplace. What else do I have to tell you? I also want to thank our friends at Pride Coffee Roasters. I know folks have been supporting a lot of our LGBTQ plus businesses during June, but guess what? Queer all year, baby. Go to pridecoffeeroasters.com for the finest, the most delicious single origin roasted to order coffee you'll ever taste. Here's the thing, Dan, I'll be honest with you. I probably waited too long to have my coffee this morning. That sometimes leads to my migraines.
Okay.
If I wait too long to have a little bit, it helps with the capillaries.
Yeah.
And I should have had some caffeine or taken something else. But apparently sugar-free Red Bull right away with the Excedrin was the deal for me.
Okay.
Yeah, because once I started getting the auras and the visual glitch, I was like, I got to get on that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Do you know anybody? Has anybody in your family had migraines?
Not that I know. No, not fit. Yeah, no.
See, and they say it's genetic, but I don't remember my parent, unless my dad. I mean, I know he took Alka-Seltzer a lot, but I think that was for another reason.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just saying.
Yeah.
But I know my mom does not have them, so generally it's genetic, but you never know.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I am one of those people. Like I have a super sensitive sense of smell.
Okay.
Like roses make me violently sick.
Really?
Yep. But we were one day, and people will think that you're overreacting or like blowing it out of proportion. Steve and I were at Costco one time when we were first dating, and I was like, "Are we near the floral department?" And it was like all the way down the aisle, and it was the roses that were making, like, the back of my throat starts to burn and itch, and my face starts
far
to
away.
hurt. Yeah,
wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's brutal. Huh. At any rate, enough with my migraines, because we all have a national migraine, and his name is Dementia Donnie. Is all I'm saying. Let's get to some phone calls, and let's get to Jim in Chicago. Hey, Jim, what's on your mind, my friend?
Hi, Patti. My barber, she's got migraines, and it was costing her $1,000 a month. I don't know what.
There's
it
was
very.
Yeah.
It was brutal. But back to, how are you, Dan? Back to Joe McCarthy, his attorney was Roy Cohn, and his philosophy was put the most explosive allegations you can out there, because by the time the smoke clears, nobody will know what to believe. And that was Trump's lawyer.
Yep.
Similar tactics on the American public. And just let's get off of that psycho. I mean, he's already got this game screwed up by putting his nose into it.
The soccer game, you guys.
Yeah. He's already
How nuts is this?
Belgium's going to declare war on us. Anyway, the other thing is, first of all, this is trivia, but New Zealand was the first country on earth to pass women's voting rights. That was about 10 years before the turn of the 20th century. So it took us about 30 years to finally get women to vote. And health care is on a similar path. We'll all be dead and gone by the time they pass it. And then this $1,000 for each child is insane, because the truth of the matter is, if child care was free and reasonable, let's say it's free, you gave 3 years to a child, and your parents could work, and so that'd be much more effective in saving money around the country for everybody's sake. But Dan, I was going to ask you. You monitor all this Republican. How about Truth Social? You take notes on that?
Yes, I do.
Do you really?
It's a scary place.
God love you.
It's a scary place.
Love you. How do you go through that? That must be just torture to follow that.
Yeah, it's not fun. I do like to poke the bear, so I do like to comment on things. And I mean, literally, my profile picture it's Donald Trump holding a rainbow flag upside down, because that's when he claimed to love the gays, and he's holding so people know, and you get a couple, 2 or 3 death threats here and there. It's kind of fun. But no, it is.
Imagine.
Yeah,
I could imagine.
It's interesting.
Oh my God.
But no, but it is.
Know,
it's
Dan,
you talk about a cult. You talk about Kool-Aid. Some of the stuff, like it's questioning of reality when I read some of this stuff. Like, how do people actually think that what they are spouting is actually factual? It's insane to me. But yeah.
No, I know, but I give you credit to hold on to your sanity. And one more trivia point: Ireland was the first nation to pass same-sex marriage. They were the first country to same-sex marriage, and they're a pretty solidly Catholic country. So my point is that, human rights, universal human rights, we've been talking about that. I mean, Paul from Seattle called about it. Eleanor Roosevelt brought it up. And someday we'll get to universal human rights around the planet, but we've got to get there somehow. But Danny, I give you all the credit in the world. Anybody can look at that Truth Social. Dear God in heaven. Anyway,
I don't
Danny,
encourage it.
I hope your noggin feels a lot better. You guys have a good night. Thank you.
I hope all our noggins feel better. I'm just saying. Let's take another phone call. We've got Roosevelt on the line. You're on with me and Dan Schaefer from the Palatini and Tuesdays with Josie. What's on your mind, Roosevelt?
Patti and Dan. Dan and Pat.
Hey.
Thanks for taking my call.
Of course.
Okay, I want to talk sportsmanship. I want to talk Mexico's game. I want to talk the orange creature ruined this cup because he already had a hand on it. Can you imagine if the president of Mexico, a woman, would have done this in Mexico? Can you imagine what he would have been doing right now? Complaining.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No.
Cheaters, intimidating FIFA. How do you pronounce it? FIFA?
I believe. FIFA.
Okay.
Paul Shavari would know.
Yeah, right.
So what did I see yesterday? I saw a team that was down 2-0, came back, and they lost 3-2. They had plenty of chances. You know what they reminded me of, guys? They reminded me of the Bulls in the early years when Michael Jordan didn't have Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant.
Wow. Deep cuts.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So these are growing pains.
Yeah.
And they weren't expected. And I looked it up yesterday. I don't know anything about soccer, to be honest with you. But they were ranked between 13 and 16, just like the United States. The top teams, like Brazil, prior to Mexico's game, they lost. And usually Brazil is favored. So there you go. Portugal lost today.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So they're favored. Mexico went beyond, above and beyond. So that's what I said. I said I saw a team that shook the other team's hand and were gracious losers. And that was the Mexican team. And that's what I said that this morning on another station in Spanish. And I said, well, at least the jerseys, which are beautiful green jerseys, at least they're going to be cheaper because, they're going to, but you got to take it in stride. It's a sport. It's a pastime. But you know that this guy already hand on it. Hey, didn't Hitler interfere in the Olympics with Jesse Owens? Something. I kind of remember something in the back of my mind. Maybe somebody out there knows what I'm talking about. Remember when they had the Olympics during Hitler's reign in Germany, and Jesse Owens ran? Wasn't there some kind of controversy because Hitler had his hands on something?
I really couldn't. That's something that my brain isn't functioning at full speed. But what I remember about Hitler and the Olympics was Jesse Owens and the results for that race, thinking that, kind of the in-your-face moment of a black runner succeeding so well.
Yep. And you know what? It's a shame that he had his hand on that. But you know who I blame? That no good president of FIFA.
Yep.
Because he gave him that. I almost said a bad word, Patty.
That's all right. So did I, because I yelled too loud. My head hurt. Go ahead.
He gave him that peace trophy. That's what started it all.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. And they delegitimize whatever the United States does. Now going forward, whatever happens will be because we cheated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This reminds me of the ball incident with Tom Brady. Remember that? The inflatable ball?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, but to your point, though, nobody seems to care about that. You had to remind me of that.
Inflategate, I think I heard. Now it's coming back to me.
Sounds right. Yeah, it was squishy balls. That was my band name in high school. Sorry. It's such a. I apologize to everyone involved. What was that?
In football, also, what's his name was banned for a year from New Orleans Saints. Remember that it's a defensive coach was telling them to go for the knees to knock them out. Remember that?
Yeah,
what the heck is his name?
I can't even. I just really couldn't imagine another, to your point, another world leader getting involved and complaining about a call. And
better things to do.
Yeah.
Really, better things to do.
He was following soccer to begin with.
Right.
You know what else? I don't think we've talked about this at all. But the wacky right is accusing Democrats of hating our country and not the Europeans are coming here and appreciate our country more. But they're mostly in blue cities. They're you know what? They're in Boston. They're in New York. They're in Mexico enjoying themselves. It really cracks me up. They're not in Chicago, and I don't have FOMO. Yes, I do. I definitely have FOMO. Anyway, I have got to run, my friend Roosevelt. Are you watching what game is on tonight? I know I should have asked Paul. What game is on tonight?
USA, and I hope USA loses. Sorry, folks, but they cheated. USA is playing Belgium.
Okay.
France has won against Portugal, and I predicted and England might win the whole thing because they look very, very good against Mexico.
Yeah, that was two back-to-back goals. That was painful. I just by the way, every time I left the room, Mexico scored. So I did not for the last 15 minutes of the game. I left the room, and then they weren't scoring, so I'd come back and leave again. I'm like, how about now? How about now? How about now? No, they wouldn't. Anyway, I just kept getting ice cream for everybody. Have a wonderful evening, Roosevelt. Great to hear from you, my friend. Thank you so much.
All this time, Patty.
Of course. Thank you for calling in.
Thanks, Roosevelt.
Thank you to everybody who's joining us for our conversation this evening on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal here in Chicago, KKNW 1150 in Seattle, and our friends in Minneapolis, St. Paul, KTNF AM 950, and of course, all of our friends tuning in digitally. Perhaps you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, and now on Minocqua Brewing Company's Substack. Thank you, everybody. Hello. Hope you're enjoying the show. I'll have more pulled together tomorrow. I mean, all day long. I've been a mess. It's the migraine brain. Thank you so much to Dan Schaefer, who joins us in studio, my guest co-host today. He's also a fill-in host here at WCPT. And joining us in a moment, we're going to have Mark Gavard on from Fort Wayne, the host of My Labor Radio, heard here on WCPT 820 each Sunday morning at 6 a.m. More in a moment. We'll be right back.
Many of our U.S. veterans and service members face challenges: mental health struggles, housing obstacles, employment, food insecurity, and social isolation, to name just a few. I'm Bob Woodruff. My family and I started the Bob Woodruff Foundation in 2006 after I sustained a life-threatening injury while reporting from Iraq. Our service members had my back that day, and we need to have theirs now more than ever. At the Bob Woodruff Foundation, we raise awareness about the tough challenges veterans and military families face and invest in solutions to help support them in the next chapter of their lives. And with one solution comes the next. We solve the housing situation, we increase employment opportunities. We solve employment problems, we address food insecurity. We solve food insecurity, we impact physical and mental health issues. Learn more about our work at bobwoodrufffoundation.org/success.
Hi, I'm Kevin Love. People see the NBA career, the championship ring, but what they don't always see is the anxiety or the moments I felt completely lost. That's why Sony Pictures Animation's film GOAT means so much to me. It's about Will Harris, a small goat who believes in himself and proves you don't have to be the biggest to be a champion.
Everyone's always told me smalls can't ball. I'm too blessed to be stressed. Everything I need to succeed is right here.
Through the Kevin Love Fund, we've created GOAT Beyond the Game, a completely free curriculum for teachers, coaches, parents, and youth programs. 4 lessons designed for kids K through 8 that cover everything from managing anger to building resilience to believing in yourself when the world doubts you. These are evidence-based tools that actually work and will help kids discover that they have the power to change the game. Go to kevinlovefund.org right now and download GOAT Beyond the Game for free.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our drive home here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 in Seattle, KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, and all of our friends tuning in digitally on Facebook, YouTube, and now on Minocqua Brewing Company's Substack. Thank you so much to everyone for making that possible here. Matt Cummings, our operations manager, worked with our friends at Minocqua Brewing Company to make this possible. So hello to everyone who's tuning in. As well, I want to thank our guest co-host today, Dan Schaefer, who's helped me make it through my migraine brain today. I have not had to cascade at all today.
No.
Now Mark Gavard wants to know what that means, but I'll have to fill him in later. Yep. We are joined by Mark Gavard from Fort Wayne, Indiana based. He's a host of My Labor Radio here on WCPT each Sunday morning at 6 a.m. First of all, Mark, how was your 4th of July weekend, my friend?
It was fantastic. The entire universe blew up. I swear. I think they had a box and they sold everybody M80s in this neck of the woods because everything was boom, 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 boom. And it wasn't sparklers and fun, lights flashing. It was just kaboom. I'm telling you that I had a couple dogs that don't care for it. But other than that, we had a great time. We gave them sedatives and they still struggle through it. But anyway, I mean, it was great. It was really a lot of fun. Started a new trend in Indiana and Fort Wayne and started having a parade on the 4th, and it was our inaugural one. So that was a very nice thing. Good gesture. Labor unions were present there. So I was excited about all of that. So hot as blazes, but we still had a good time.
Oh, that's fantastic. And, there's a lot going on. I was thinking about this today. Dan, my guest co-host, listens to a lot of conservative radio, wants to know what they're talking about. And so I tuned in today on another station, and this guy, was talking about how, Democrats don't want, America first. I'm like, how about humans first? How about workers first? Right? I mean, because this country has so many people who contribute to our society, and they just see one thing, and we know what that is. But update us a little bit about what's going on in labor in Indiana. I know that you stay in touch and are working really hard with our brothers and sisters in unions.
Yeah, it's the most frustrating thing for us right now is what's going on in Whiting, Indiana. Now, if you think back 137 years, and no one will, but 137 years ago, there was the JP or Rockefellers started a refinery in Whiting, Indiana. It was Standard Oil, followed by Amoco, and then BP came along in '89, and then it was BP Amoco for a while, and now it's just BP as of 2001. Well, BP, being a foreign conglomerate, came to here to do refinery work. And what they did was they also brought in foreign folks to manage these facilities. And specifically in Texas, they were very successful at breaking a union there. So they brought that model to Whiting, Indiana. And Chris Delafranco, who is their plant manager, is the key to that whole thing. Now, 4.5 months, these folks were at the bargaining table. United Steelworkers 7-1 were at the bargaining table and had been there for a couple of months. And then in March, Whiting, Indiana, the BP locked the doors and said, you guys don't have a job here anymore, and are now using scab labor and scab contractors from out of state to do the work. Lots of alarm bells are going off. The refining's not working the greatest as it should. It's a safety issue, but I think Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott said it best when he talks to BP is it's not us. It's not just people you're messing with. You're messing with generations who've depended on this refinery for labor here to pay the way. And here you are pulling the rug out from underneath them. On the 26th of June, there was a huge bus trip. Everybody went to the BP headquarters in Chicagoland on Wacker Drive and had a huge turnout. Musicians Union was there. They had UAW members. They had teachers union members were there. CTU was there. I mean, there was a huge group. Steelworkers obviously were there. All of them protesting what was going on. Legislators from Indianapolis got there themselves too and gave some great speeches. It's uplifting, but it doesn't get it done. We're still in a lockout situation. Over 800 people are locked out of work right now in Whiting, Indiana. Thanks, BP.
Wow, I had no idea. Well, now I know where to drive by, which gas station to. And I think we do need more of that. I was a strike captain here in Chicago for SAG-AFTRA, and it's interesting when you're walking the picket line and you have people stopping by like asking, and it's hard to do it like one by one. I don't, and I kind of I was just thinking, I was like, I need to talk to somebody about getting on these press releases, and I need to be better informed myself about what's going on with labor, which is why one of the reasons we're talking to Mark Gavart from My Labor Radio and to having these conversations. Are there any actions coming up soon that people should know about that we can participate in?
Well, as always, if you're Whiting, Indiana, if you're in that neck of the woods and it's not too far, you're 25 minutes from downtown Chicago, so it's a really quick drive, providing traffic's in your favor, but I doubt that.
Right.
But the biggest thing you could do is reach out to United Steelworkers 7-1 and look them up on the internet. They're easy to find. And those steelworkers, there's a number of things that they want for support for what they're going through right now. These folks were locked out. So they went from paycheck to, all right, no more paychecks. And they've been out for 4.5 months right now. So a lot of families doing some struggling right now. But no one's ever ready for a strike situation. You kind of prepare for it. And they kind of knew what was coming at them, but they didn't expect a lockout in which they shut the doors and then brought scab labor in. So they're manning the gates, and there are multiple places. And if you want to be a part of that, standing on that picket line, check in with Steelworkers 7-1. Look up what's going on there. Give them a call. Let them know what's going on. Pull into their union hall before you just drive over there. It's an industrial setup. It's not really, hey, I can park here and walk over and stand on the strike line. It's really not built for that. So there's a lot of things, dynamics you got to go through. So get with Steelworkers 7-1 and they'll walk you through what their needs are. But their website, as their Facebook page, also has plenty of details there. So that's good stuff. If you can afford something, they would take whatever you could give. Would be a wonderful gift.
Absolutely. Let's support our brothers and sisters in labor. Again, that's Steelworkers 7-1. Find them on Facebook and on social media and find out what they need.
Yeah,
I appreciate that for that call to action, Mark.
Yeah.
And you wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on in Illinois and some work that our legislators and governor have been doing. What's going on in my state?
Yeah, well, let me tell you, Springfield's rocking right now. So on the 29th, Governor Pritzker, 29th of June, Governor Pritzker signed SB 3465. That's Senate Bill 3465, it's the enacted legislation, and it ensures that construction workers who menstruate or express milk have safe and sanitary working conditions. Now, we're looking at trying to maintain workforces and trying to add to these diverse workforces, but if we're not supporting them, we're losing sisters in the construction trades for these very reasons. So what this really does is includes requirements for dedicated bathrooms, access to menstrual hygiene products. So we're asking the employers to provide these things free of charge to the employees, and lactation accommodations and making workplaces more inclusive, which would also include refrigeration for that milk, those type of things. So a number of good things come from this, and it wasn't a hard sell when you brought it to the House and the Senate and started talking about it. It was pretty bipartisan, and it passed without a really big fight. And then Governor Pritzker brought it to fruition here on the 29th of June. So I was really excited to see that, because I think Chicago Women in Trades, if you're familiar with them, in fact, that was my show this last Sunday, I had a great conversation with Jane from Chicago Women in Trades and got into a lot of details. And if you're a young sister in the Chicagoland area and you're thinking about carpentry, electrical work, pipe fitter, laborer, operating engineer, walk through the steps of what Chicago Women in Trades, which is CWIT.org, has for you. And there's plenty of details there. They also have a huge section about this legislation because it's very moving to them that something like that would happen. Now, Chicago Women in Trades has been around for 40 years, not a new entity, but wonderful things are happening there and great opportunities. If that's something a niece, a nephew, nephew, a niece, anybody in that realm wants to join the construction trades, stop in and see it. They've got some open houses in July and August. Check their website out. You get some real good details there.
Excellent. And I really, the conversations around lactation and menstruating I was telling you off the air that I had a really interesting experience when I was at the Marine Corps Recruit Depot. I was there for an educators week, and I they struggle because the Marines are only men are trained in San Diego. And I was asking them because, if you're not training together, there are these situations, and there is an element of normalizing these conversations. And I tried explaining like what a diva cup was to some of these guys, and they're like, well, Emma, it's just normalizing it, right? And here are solutions, and coming up with solutions, I think, is the best way forward for everybody, so that we're not losing people who really want to serve, whether it's the job that they have or being in the military or in whatever capacity.
Right. And that's the key to it, too, is maintaining, they've gone through all the steps of basic training, did all those things, and then get into it as a full-time job. And I got to leave because you don't support me. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Same thing with an apprenticeship program into a trade of some kind. And now all of a sudden you're not getting support at your work site. I mean, I talked to a sister from Massachusetts that was her goal. Once she became a supervisor, she decided that I'm going to have at one toilet, and I'm going to have a lock on it. And there's a 5-gallon bucket with everything anybody ever needs inside there. And if you need it, you come see me. So if she saw a sister on the work site, she'd give her the combination, and nobody else could go near that. Those are the kind of things but a sister had to do that. It wasn't something that the company did. Now we're legislating that. I know plenty of people will find a problem with that. Why would you? That's what it's about. Take care of our sisters. That's what brings them into the workplace. That's what keeps them there. That's what makes a family. Families are not what we think they are, Governor Braun, who called June Nuclear Family Month.
Yeah, that was a whole...
Sorry, I brought it back up as we've left that behind us. But that bastard...
Yeah, the counter-programming. We're taking back the rainbow. God gave it to us. It's so, this invoking Genesis. Yeah, I saw a lot of that stuff. It's all... hogwash is my most polite FCC-approved way to say that.
I love that. I support you 100%.
People obsessed with the gay agenda, quote unquote. Yeah. I don't even really know half the stuff they're bringing up.
Did you not get the memo? Don't you get the memo every morning about what the gay agenda is?
Yeah, it's brunch on Sundays, and it's pretty much it.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Dan, thank you for bringing that on board. I appreciate that.
Exactly. Well, Mark of Art. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was just saying, it's always great to be with you, Patti, and I'm so excited about what's happening with Substack right now and Ben Caminos. It's really cool stuff. Way to go. Congratulations.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you. And you know what? Actually, now that you mention it, I do an office hours every Monday at 1:00 on Substack from Minocqua Brewing Company. So let me get you on, and we'll do an interview on that show as well. So we'll do both.
Love to. Count me in. Absolutely.
And what about yourself?
Sounds good.
Is the best place to find more of your work also what's your favorite place to direct people, or all of them?
Well, any platform you want to hear something. If you're driving somewhere, you're stuck in the car, there's a lot of great shows that I've produced over the last several years, last 10 now, and you can find them. Just search My Labor Radio. My Labor Radio, pretty simple idea. Yep. On any platform you can find us, grab it. You'll look at, go through the timeline, you'll love it. There's somebody in there you want to listen to.
Excellent. And of course, you can also tune in Sunday mornings at 6 a.m. I'm trying to move my clock up for when I wake up in the mornings every single day and be consistent about it, because that also helps a migraine brain, by the way, for those of you who might also be
great point.
Sufferers. Yep.
Yeah.
So I've got to get on that. So every Sunday morning here on WCPT, 6 a.m. Central, it's the My Labor Radio of Mark Gavart. So thank you so much. Have a great evening. We'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
Thank
you, Patty. Take care, Dan. See you
too.
More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150, KTNF AM 950. Our friends tuning in on Facebook and YouTube, as well as now Minocqua Brewing Company Substack. More after this with Dan Schaefer, my co-host today. Hello.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Clear skies tonight with a low temperature of 66 degrees and breezy north winds. Tuesday, sunshine with a high temperature of 79 and northeast winds at 5 to 10. Wednesday, sunny with a high temperature of 88 degrees. Thursday, we'll see a chance of showers and thunderstorms with a high temperature around 87. Friday, scattered showers and thunderstorms with a high temperature around 81 degrees. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 79.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
If you're purchasing a new home and working with Rocket Mortgage, listen very closely. Carly, 54, first-time home buyer, income 65 G's a year. Contacted Rocket Mortgage for a mortgage. Rocket locked her into a 25-year fixed FHA loan at 6.125%, which sounds great until I reviewed Rocket's loan documents. Carly didn't know Rocket placed her into a 25-year fixed loan, not a 30-year fixed loan like she wanted. Carly also didn't know Rocket Mortgage charged her over $5,000 to lower her rate. I explained why I thought it wasn't in her financial best interest to buy down the rate, and that's why Team Hochberg, not Rocket Mortgage, will be helping Carly with her mortgage. Let's review. Rocket Mortgage placed Carly into a loan she didn't want and didn't understand why Rocket charged her to secure a lower rate. If you want to work with a lender you can trust, give us a call now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com, 855-563-2843 or visit our website 56david.com. Atlantic Coast Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 643114.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversation here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 in Seattle, KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Hello to all of our friends who are tuning in digitally, our friends on Facebook and YouTube. If you are tuning in there, please consider hitting that, what do they say? Smash that subscribe button and share with your friends so they can join the conversation. And now we are so thrilled to be broadcasting on Minocqua Brewing Company's Substack. So please consider joining us there. And if you subscribe to Minocqua Brewing Company's Substack, you can also get some of our columns that Ben Cominos is just submitted his. He'll read his publication tomorrow, and it'll be his column will also feature Fascist Tears beer, and every order that you place, when he writes or I write on Mondays, my product is Woke Coffee, because I am woke, and Ben likes to drink Fascist Tears. You can, when you make a purchase that supports the work that we do there, we have Brendan Hennigan just wrote a great piece on Sunday. Of course, Kirk Bankstead does a great work of keeping up to date what's going on and sharing his thoughts as well, just to name a few of the writers that we have. Oh, I'm sorry. Karen Byrne from Two Blue Politics is also a contributor to our Substack on Minocqua Brewing Company. So a lot of great writers. I mean, I'm honored to be in their company. Dan Schaefer, the host of Tuesdays with Josie, as well as Palatini, joins us in studio. And it's been an interesting 4th of July celebration. We were talking earlier about the people who were turned away. They had to close the whole state fair down on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then they were yelling, not just about how Democrats were spreading lies about the weather or causing the weather. Because remember, Marjorie Taylor Greene said that we were directing hurricanes towards North Carolina.
Yes.
And space lasers, I think, something like that.
They're infatuated with space lasers.
But for law and order folks, they were yelling at the cops.
Not the first time that they've done.
It did have elements of January 6th.
That's what I was. Yes.
It really did. There was one guy who had like 4th of July paint all over his skull. He just had a shaved head, which was not surprising. We haven't even talked about the mask. I don't know if they were.
Oh my
Proud
goodness!
Boys
Yeah, right. Well, that was Antifa.
Yes.
According to Lori Ingram.
Or FBI.
Or FBI, yes.
Trump's FBI or Antifa. With no indication. The goalposts are always moving for MAGA.
It's insane.
Absolutely.
And it was, the people who were complaining about having to wear a mask at a Costco are now loving it 101 degree weather and, marching all over,
Someone pointed out that looked like they were wearing their mom's panties on their faces.
It kind of did. I'm not going to lie. It kind of did. Yeah. No, I think that whole Great American State Fair, that was just a cluster, from the dilapidated, crumbling, quote unquote, structures that they built. And then there was a video of there was a musical group, they were practicing or rehearsing on a stage, and part of the stage fell on
God.
There's video of it, and the dancers, and all of a sudden something just falls from the top of the stage, it almost hits it, and people are looking what is going on right now?
I'm guessing they didn't hire union labor, is all I'm saying.
I would guarantee you that they did not.
Just saying.
And overall attendance was bad, but if you watch Fox News, everything was great and hunky dory, and there were so many people there.
Yeah, to empty fields.
Yeah.
Look at the crowds. I mean, complete denial.
It was insane. And then, 850,000 fireworks, the most ever. He was bragging all about that. And then I think, didn't he fall asleep halfway through it or something?
Did you see the images of him watching himself be on Fox News?
Oh, I did not.
He was watching Fox News, and they were taking a shot of him
and he was
watching himself on Fox News. It was.
Are we surprised?
Somebody shared a clip from Spaceballs where they're looking at a screen, and they're like, "What am I looking at?
That is a great scene." Also, now I'm gonna that is Donald Trump, and that is what's it? Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
I love
oh my
Moranis.
goodness! Now I want to watch that movie and just compare it to. Oh my goodness! Okay. All right. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
It's super super funny.
Yeah.
And then this guy Burgum was on the morning talk shows yesterday talking about this 350-foot gash, which maybe that was his girlfriend in high school. Anyway, I'm just saying.
No, I totally. Yeah.
I have no idea. But at any rate, he was talking about how he was being asked, like, is there any evidence? And he's like, it's obvious. And they were like, so is it a continuous gash? Is it like just?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
he's like, well,
the liner.
Is there evidence? He goes, well, there are slashes. I'm like, well, that's okay. But is there evidence of how they occurred how you're saying
There's
they
no
occur.
video.
We're asking about that evidence, not just the fact that there may be slashes. Also, didn't Donald Trump roll like his entire motorcade on top of the thing?
Yeah, they drove on it.
They didn't give it proper time to cure. Okay, like that. Several tons of vehicles on top of it may or may not have contributed to what we're currently experiencing. I highly doubt somebody with a box cutter did exactly what we are currently witnessing with the reflecting pool.
Well, what's crazy about that was a month before he actually used the phrase "you couldn't even cut it with a box cutter."
Exactly.
Why was he even bringing up the thing that was going to be the thing he said it was that couldn't be done with the thing he said couldn't be done with?
Same thing.
I can't. That was
same
really
thing
weird.
with the term communist. We need somebody to blame. We need something.
Absolutely.
For his ineptitude is what we need.
Do you know what I realized, though, is that while and I know that Khomeini's funeral happened over the weekend, but we're also not having conversations about the negotiations about ending this war, this peace deal, this ceasefire.
No.
I know Israel is still attacking Gaza and Lebanon. And I mean, that's literally still happening.
We're talking about a red card in FIFA. We're not talking about Iran.
Yes.
Yes.
Ow.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We're talking about the red.
Sorry. I didn't mean for you to do that.
Ow. Ow.
But it's true. We're not, because those negotiations, I can only imagine how they're not going well.
Yeah.
And just deflect. Don't talk about it. These Trump's accounts, we're talking about that right now. We're talking about the FIFA. We're talking about, we're not talking about Epstein. We're not talking about Iran. We're still talking about the stupid reflecting pool. Why we're talking about a reflecting pool this late, I don't get it. There are so many other things going on right now. We're not talking about it.
Yeah, no, it's really crazy. And then he was, someone just wrote, "Oh, Patti, you're naughty." That was nasty. I do want to come back to something, because we were talking earlier about the fireworks this weekend. For those of us just joining, anywhere that you might be tuning in, the fireworks were aggressive this weekend. I don't know if it was just because it was the 250th or people have been saving up and just want to blow things up. Have you ever lit a firework? Have you ever lit a firework?
I have.
Is it something? Is it exciting?
I just see money blowing up, honestly, when I do that. It's I've done the mortars, and I light it and I run, because there's no guarantee that thing's going to go straight up. That could easily flip and come at you. I mean, also my friends and I used to shoot bottle rockets at each other in the alley. We were not smart, okay, but so I've done it. I don't see the point in it.
I'm sorry. My husband asked me if I ever turn the handlebars of my bike backwards and use you take the rubber caps off the handles and suck bottle rockets. And this is he was telling me the story, and I'm like, who are you?
I've done that.
Would you did that too when you were a kid? You said with the handlebars and okay. So here's my origin story of never lighting a firework. I maybe did sparklers, punks, and remember those little black snakes you lit it and it just got longer. That's it. At any rate, my cousin, one of my cousins, I can't remember if it's my oldest cousin or my same age cousin, had a handful of firecrackers, the ones with the stripes around them, and twisted the wicks together and held them in his hand to light, and nothing happened to him, but the anticipation of him losing his hand, even though I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, traumatized me to this very day. I cannot. It elicits a reaction when a friend of mine was having a 4th of July party years ago, and our kids were in grade school together, and other parents brought a massive amount of fireworks to set off in her backyard, and she and I were both apoplectic.
Right.
We were she was like, absolutely, you didn't even ask me for permission.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that the people didn't start any fires. I'm every year I'm like, is this the year my car gets totaled?
Yes, right.
That's exactly what I think.
That's the thing.
Yeah. I am not a fan of any of that. I do. So the reason I was asking, we were talking about this earlier. We are going to talk to our friend Rudy Flores in just a moment. But right now we don't have the ability to make that phone call. So give us 1 second if our friends are listening. Rudy, we're going to get to you in just a moment. We were talking about Midway Airport and that people near the airport were shooting off firecrackers. The FAA investigated whether or not the firecrackers came close. I was talking about how I do not like landing. I don't like going to Midway Airport. Of course, I live 12 minutes in good traffic from O'Hare.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't like going to Midway. But someone wrote, Midway Airport is way better than O'Hare. It's easier to get around, easier, and lots cheaper to park, and so much faster. It's been a long time since I've been there, but I've been going to O'Hare Airport since I was 4 years old. My dad was a cab driver.
Also, Northwest Side, I take the blue line right in. So I'm an O'Hare
parking
guy.
I've never parked. I've never had to park at O'Hare Airport. Never.
Yeah.
Not once.
Yeah, exactly. And Midway works for people. It's fine. Yeah.
I do have to say that when the Blue Line, I was just telling my son and his girlfriend that when they extended the Blue Line past Jefferson Park, so the Blue Line used to terminate at Jefferson Park until the mid-'80s when I was in high school. And so they extended it out to O'Hare. Now, if you notice, there's an extremely long stretch from Jefferson Park, much longer than any of the other train lines in Chicago. It goes all the way from Jefferson Park to Harlem is the next stop.
Oh, yeah.
And the logical stop is Nagel. But this neighborhood did not want kids from other communities coming in, kids of color coming in over to the Northwest Side to go to Taft High School.
Okay.
And so that was, the kibosh was put on that. And so the logical next stop would have been Nagel.
Yeah.
And I think it actually is a harm to the community.
It actually is, yeah. That would be really convenient for people that live there.
Well, especially right now, since they've choked off the whole Northwest.
That is such a mess.
Oh, my. Okay, this is totally not anybody else's.
Yeah.
I guess
if you
no
don't
one
live
else's
around
problem.
here, you
But the
wouldn't
people
know.
in this 2-mile radius of Jefferson Park, Norwood Park, Gladstone Park, and a little bit of Edison Park. But they have shut down the entrances, the bridges to Foster, and now they shut down Nagel at the train crossing.
2 streets could cause so much chaos.
And then it's a whole thing. So we're gonna touch base with our friend Rudy Flores from Lincoln Square, Ravenswood Chamber of Commerce in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. Talk about the square roots right here in a moment. We are so glad you're all joining us on Facebook, on YouTube, on KKNW, on KTNF, and Dan Schaefer joins me in studio.
Choose Views with Richard Jew.
Mary Pat, good morning and welcome to the show.
We're all human. Cory Booker is a human. The man in the White House is a human being. And the point is, stop looking for excuses not to vote.
Yeah, Mary Pat, wow, you must have been in my brain. I was driving in this morning thinking about thoughts for the show, and I was like, a lot of people were just looking for a reason to find fault in Kamala Harris, and they didn't vote.
Richard Jew, weekday mornings at 6 on WCPT 820.
Hi, this is Tom Hartman. When retirees are asked about their biggest financial fears, the top concerns are running out of money and reducing their retirement lifestyle. What many seniors don't realize is that overpaying taxes can make those fears a reality. Most retirees focus on investment returns, but the hidden secret may be keeping more of what they earn after taxes. Brookfield Tax Planning can show you strategies many CPAs and financial advisors don't discuss, including reducing taxes on required minimum distributions, growing money safely with tax-advantaged income, and legally sheltering thousands through proactive 2026 tax planning. Remember, every dollar wasted on unnecessary taxes is a dollar you don't get to live on. 2026 tax planning needs to start right now. Don't wait until next tax season hoping your taxes will somehow be lower. Visit BrookfieldTaxPlanning.com or call 708-485-3439. That's Brookfield Tax Planning or call 708-485-3439.
Your child is sick. And with those 4 words, the innocence and joy of childhood disappears. But Starlight has taught us 4 other words that make all the difference. The power of play. Healing begins with happiness. That's why Starlight Children's Foundation provides programs to hospitalized kids to deliver happiness when it matters most. Learn more at starlight.org.
Because facts matter. You are listening to WCPT 820.
Here's great news for those Chicagoans heading up to southern Wisconsin. Should you ever forget to load up on progressive brews from the local favorites like Rogers Park Provisions or Park West Liquor in Lincoln Park, Minocqua Brewing Company beer is now conveniently available at Dream Liquor and Cigar in Kenosha and in the Lake Geneva area at Delavan Liquor and Smoke in Delavan. If the great town of Madison, Wisconsin is your jam, please remember to swing into the Minocqua Brewing Company tap room at 2927 East Washington Avenue to grab some Resistance beer, pizza, t-shirts, and progressive camaraderie.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
All right, let's hit it.
At 773-763-9278.
I got a lot to say.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you for joining us. We continue our conversation here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle, KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and joining the conversation. Joining me in studio is my guest co-host, Dan Schaefer, who's been helping me through my migraine brain today as I recover from a near catastrophic cascading of events. So thank you so much. And of course, our friends now tuning in on Minocqua Brewing Company's Substack. If you're in the Chicagoland area, you need to know more about our event coming up in Chicago, Square Roots. Joining us right now is Rudy Flores, joining us to talk about this event. Rudy is the executive director of the Lincoln Square Ravenswood Chamber of Commerce. Have I got that all right?
You got it right, Patti. How are you?
I've got it all memorized. Thank you for your patience. We had a little bit of a glitch with my my system here. So thank you. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. I guess better than you. I'm not dealing with a migraine.
Yeah, I had the harbinger of it, so I tried. This is one of the few times where I'm learning about how to get ahead of it. Eventually, I probably have to do more things. But you know what? As long as I don't have one during Square Roots, we're all good. Tell us about Square Roots, my friend.
Well, hopefully I see you every year, I feel like there. Square Roots, we're super excited, is right around the corner. So it's Friday through Sunday in the heart of Lincoln Square on Chicago's north side. And there's street festivals all over the city, but we've tried to create something that's a little different. So through the Chamber of Commerce, we work with our local businesses, local breweries, and different vendors and food vendors and things like that to curate a really interesting mix of food and market vendors where we partner then with Old Town School of Folk Music to curate international world music. So it's a great celebration for summer here in Chicago.
Oh, I love it. And so you've got, and of course, the Old Town School of Music. So I lived in Lincoln Square from 1994 until 2000, and I loved that community. And I got to see the construction and the installation of the more expanded and the more vibrant and exciting Old Town School of Music. So tell us a little about some of the Kid Zone and some of the things that folks can expect from, the musical experiences that they can enjoy.
Yeah, so unlike your normal street festival, it's usually outdoor stages. So we have 3 different outdoor stages. We also have an indoor stage, like we were talking about. Old Town School of Folk Music has, 2 large buildings, so a pretty decent-sized campus in our community. And so we do things indoors and outdoors from different drum circles and jams that go on that you can be very interactive and hands-on. Like in the Kids Zone, we have instrument petting zoo, so kids can get to just play with and touch different instruments that maybe they haven't ever seen or used before. But then throughout the weekend, we have really great acts. So on Friday night, we kick off the weekend with indie rock band Dead, which is a local indie band here in Chicago. So they've performed for us before. It's pretty awesome to have them back. On Saturday night, we have a wave of terrific Americana and roots music on tap. So if you know Margot Price, she's going to be our headliner on Saturday night. And then we have Hooray for the Riff Raff and songwriter extraordinaire Robbie Folks. And then on Sunday night, a lot of people are really excited about Nick Lowe, who's going to be back with us. And he is bringing back a band that he's with called Low Straight Jacket. So they'll be there. We have a tribute to Al Green featuring soul legend Ronaldo Domino, and a whole bunch of other great stuff. So it's just, very eclectic music, which I think is really fun. And then just very interactive stuff for families and kids. So Wiggle Worms is a dance class that Old Town School puts on that people love. And so that'll be going on Saturday and Sunday in the Kids Zone. So there's really something for everybody.
I am super excited. This is such a silly story, but when I was at another radio station, we got to feature some bands. And one of my favorite bands, when I ran for office, I was ringing doorbells here on the Northwest Side, and I was like, I'm sorry, you're the lead singer for the Tossers. You guys have the Tossers performing at the festival as well. That's exciting.
Yes. It's really exciting to just have a lot of local stuff, but also, just they try to really mix it up so that we keep true to our roots here in Chicago. But, you just want to bring in some of that world music, too, because the Old Town School of Folk Music is more than just folk music. And it's a great school. If you're interested in taking classes and stuff like that, there's something for everybody there.
I kind of feel like even if it's just for kids, well, not just for kids, even though it's intended for kids, I kind of need to see what Raging Chihuahuas are all about.
That sounds interesting.
I've not seen them, so it does sound interesting. I agree.
I'm like, I need some of that. I mean, so for folks who are interested, first of all, you can get there by public transportation. It's incredibly easy, right? Tell folks about the Brown Line.
Yeah, so we're right on the Brown Line, right north of the Loop. So it's pretty easy to get to. Get off at the Western Brown Line stop, and then you just walk across 2 blocks south of the station, and you're in the festival. So pretty simple. Easy to also take Uber and Lyft and things like that. We have plenty of bike parking, so if you want to divvy over, take a Lime scooter or something like that, it's parking. Obviously, you can do. It is all city neighborhood street parking, so it could be a little bit more challenging, but it's well worth the visit.
Well, I really appreciate you joining us. And again, thank you for your patience for joining us, and look forward to seeing you this weekend. I will make it out there. Dan, I'm going to drag you out to the Square Roots.
Sounds good to me.
Excellent. Have a great evening, Rudy. Rudy Flores with the Lincoln Square. He's the executive director of the Lincoln Square Ravenswood Chamber of Commerce. A really great community, you guys. This is also an opportunity, if you've never been to the area, to join us and celebrate together. Thank you so much, Rudy. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
Take care. I really do. I love my community. I miss.
We used to live in Ravenswood. I love that area.
Oh, it's
great.
Fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's Dan Schaefer, the host of Politini. The Politini available wherever you download your podcast, as well as Tuesdays with Josie. Thank you to Lady B and to Matt Cummings for making this possible so that you broadcast on Minocqua Brewing Company Substack. Lady B, I love you. Have a great night. Love you all. Take care of yourselves. Stay hydrated. Thank you to our sponsors, Pride Coffee Roasters, Source Solar. Are You Really Winning? All the folks who support our show, and Berman Auto. Good night, everybody.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.